The alien queen froze when she saw a human holding her wounded daughter. The planet's atmosphere shimmered under its three suns, and the floating cities of Lysara's civilization reflected the light in endless patterns. Queen Lysara sat in her observation chamber, her eyes scanning the holographic map of the planet's outskirts. She was a leader known for her strength, wisdom, and unwavering love for her people. Yet even she could not foresee the danger approaching her daughter that day. Princess Nira, young but courageous, had been exploring the edge of the system. It was a place forbidden to most civilians, but curiosity had always been part of her nature. She flew in her sleek hovercraft, the windless void offering her freedom, the stars like diamonds scattered across black silk. Suddenly, a warning flashed on her console, multiple unidentified ships emerging from a distant asteroid field. Her sensors picked up hostile energy signatures. Nira's heart raced, but training kicked in. She prepared her craft's shields and weapons. Before she could react fully, the rogue ship struck. Energy blasts tore through the void, narrowly missing her craft. Nira maneuvered swiftly, but one miscalculation sent her craft spiraling toward a jagged asteroid. She tried to stabilize it, but a massive impact shook the ship. Sparks flew, and her life support system sputtered. In that terrifying moment, she realized she might not survive. Far from Zithra, a small human research vessel drifted through the outer rings. Alex, a young human explorer, was cataloging asteroid minerals when his sensors picked up an unusual energy spike. Curious, he adjusted his trajectory, following the readings. He expected to find a natural anomaly, perhaps a rare mineral, but instead he saw a small spacecraft tumbling out of control. Alex's heart skipped a beat. It was clearly a life sign aboard that craft. Without hesitation, he fired his thrusters and raced toward it. "Hang on," he murmured, gripping the controls tightly. His training as a human explorer had always emphasized quick thinking and bold action, but even he could feel the danger looming. As Alex closed the distance, he saw the alien pilot struggling to regain control. He recognized the signs of a young and inexperienced hand, yet the pilot's courage was undeniable. Alex maneuvered his vessel close enough to extend the rescue beam. The alien craft shuddered violently as it struck a small debris field, but Alex didn't hesitate. With careful precision, he guided the injured craft toward his own. He activated the docking clamps, holding it steady. The alien pilot slumped forward. Alex didn't waste a second. He accessed the craft, opening the hatch. There she was, a young alien, her skin glimmering faintly in the starlight, eyes wide with fear and pain. "Don't worry," Alex said softly, trying to calm her. He lifted her gently, feeling her small body tremble. The alien's breathing was shallow, and her suit had cracks in the protective layer. "I've got you. You'll be safe now." Back on Zithra, Queen Lysara's communication console blared. She immediately detected an energy anomaly near the planet's outer rings. Her instincts told her something was wrong. She ordered a patrol to investigate. Minutes later, her screen displayed the distress signals of her daughter's craft. Lysara's eyes narrowed in concern. "Nira," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. As the Queen's guards prepared for a rescue, an unusual report came in. A human vessel had intercepted the princess's craft and was holding her in its arms. Lysara froze. Humans were considered fragile, weak, and unpredictable in interstellar politics. They had never been tested in real combat. Seeing a human carrying her daughter, unafraid and seemingly in control, sent a shock through her mind. Alex floated in the cockpit of his ship, adjusting the life support to stabilize the alien. He examined the injuries carefully, using his portable medical tools. Despite being in a completely foreign environment, he worked quickly and efficiently. He treated burns, patched the cracked suit, and administered emergency nutrients. The princess stirred. Her large eyes blinked open, filled with confusion and fear. She tried to speak, but only a weak whisper came out. Alex smiled gently. "You're safe," he reassured her. "I won't let anything happen to you." Princess Nira looked at him, astonishment written across her face. In her culture, humans were thought of as incapable of heroism beyond basic survival. Yet here was one, standing strong, calm, and caring, saving her life without hesitation. She wanted to speak, but words failed her. The human ship wasn't equipped for long-term stays, and space was dangerous. Alex knew he had to act quickly. He charted a course toward a nearby safe station. The journey was tense. Rogue ships from the ambush had not yet retreated. Energy readings indicated that they might return at any moment. Alex maneuvered with skill, dodging debris and calculating every move carefully. Meanwhile, Queen Lysara watched the live feed, unable to look away. Her guards hovered at the ready, unsure whether to intervene. The alien culture taught them caution, not improvisation. Yet what they saw was nothing short of extraordinary. A fragile-looking creature, a human, was saving her daughter with courage, intelligence, and compassion. Lysara's heart swelled with a mix of fear, admiration, and confusion. As the human ship approached the station, the princess finally found her voice. "Thank you," she whispered in her language, the words trembling but clear. Alex nodded, understanding her gratitude even though he couldn't comprehend the language fully. He smiled warmly, encouraging her. "You'll get stronger," he said simply. "You'll be safe now." The station doors opened and Alex docked carefully. He carried the injured princess inside, ensuring she was protected from the harsh void outside. Medical teams rushed forward, guided by emergency instructions Alex had left. The princess was quickly moved to a safe chamber where she could recover. The queen's shock turned to awe. Her daughter was alive, saved not by soldiers or advanced technology, but by a human. She had been frozen at the sight, unable to react immediately as if time had stopped. The notion that humans were inferior was shattered before her eyes. Soldiers reported back, describing Alex's bravery and composure. Lysara realized that humans possessed qualities her people rarely valued: adaptability, empathy, and fearless initiative. For the first time, she considered the possibility that humans might be more than simple explorers or scientists. They could be allies, perhaps even heroes in their own right. Princess Neera slowly opened her eyes again, this time looking directly at Alex. There was trust there, fragile but growing. The human smiled back, offering reassurance without arrogance. "We'll get you home," he said simply. The queen finally spoke, her voice steady but tinged with wonder. "Who is this human?" she demanded, her gaze fixed on the figure who had saved her daughter. Her advisors stammered, unsure how to respond. Lysara's mind raced with possibilities and questions, but one thought stood out above all: this human was different. Brave, compassionate, and clever beyond expectation. As the station's automated systems processed the incoming ship, Alex set the princess down gently, checking her vitals once more. He realized that he had entered a story far larger than himself, a tale that might change the course of an entire civilization. For now, his focus remained simple: protect the injured, stay calm, and act with courage. That was all humans had ever needed to do. Queen Lysara, still observing, felt a shift inside her. She had ruled wisely, but perhaps she had been too bound by her own prejudices. This human, this single being, had demonstrated that courage did not come from size, technology, or bloodline. It came from action, compassion, and heart. And so, as the stars of Zithara shimmered outside the station, a human and an alien princess became the first link in what might become a bridge between worlds. Queen Lysara's gaze lingered on the human. She did not yet understand the full meaning of what had happened, but one thing was clear: everything had changed in an instant. The encounter had begun, and the universe would never be the same again. The recovery chamber was quiet except for the soft hum of medical systems and the occasional beep of a monitoring device. Princess Neera lay on the bed, her breathing steady but shallow. Her eyes, wide and curious, followed every movement of the human who had saved her. Alex moved carefully, adjusting the medical instruments and checking her vitals. Though exhausted from the rescue, he remained alert, aware that the alien civilization might see him as a threat. Outside the chamber, Queen Lysara paced. Her tentacles, marked with the elegant symbols of royalty, twitched nervously. The palace guards had surrounded the station, unsure whether to allow this human free access. Every report they sent made the queen's uncertainty grow. Could a human be trusted? Could he have a hidden agenda? Yet the proof of his courage and compassion was undeniable. The chamber door slid open and a guard entered cautiously. "Your Majesty," he said, "the human has completed his initial care. The princess's vitals are stable, but she will need additional observation." Lysara's multifaceted eyes glinted with thought. "I will see him," she said, her voice firm. "I need to know exactly who this human is and why he intervened." Alex had not expected an audience with the queen. His mind raced as the chamber door opened again, revealing Lysara herself. She moved with a graceful authority, every step deliberate, every glance sharp. Alex straightened instinctively, unsure how to act. "You," Lysara began, her voice calm but commanding, "are the human who rescued my daughter." Alex nodded respectfully. "Yes, your majesty, I found her in danger and acted to protect her. That is all." The queen studied him closely. Humans were said to be fragile, weak, and unpredictable. Yet here was one who had risked his life for someone he did not know, without hesitation or fear. The contradictions in her mind were stark. "How did you know what to do?" Lysara asked, her eyes narrowing slightly. "How did you save her?" Alex glanced at the princess, who was now blinking more steadily. "I have some medical training," he said simply, "and when I saw she was in danger, I acted. I didn't have time to worry about anything else." The queen's tentacles twitched in thought. Her advisors whispered among themselves, sharing their disbelief at the human's composure. Lysara raised a hand, silencing them. "Your courage is remarkable," she said to Alex, "but I must understand your intentions. Why intervene in our affairs?" "Humans are distant from our system. You could have ignored this entirely." Alex met her gaze calmly. "I couldn't do that. She was in danger and I couldn't leave her. That is all. I do not seek reward or influence. I only acted to help." Lysara was silent for a moment. Her mind wrestled with conflicting ideas. Humans were supposed to be simple, focused on survival and personal gain. Yet this one had demonstrated qualities that her own advisors rarely acknowledged: bravery, compassion, and selfless action. Meanwhile, Princess Neera stirred again. "He helped me," she whispered weakly in her native language. Her eyes shone with gratitude. "He didn't hesitate even when I was injured." Lysara's gaze softened slightly as she looked at her daughter. Neera's trust in the human was evident. Her heart swelled with pride for her child, yet a spark of caution remained. Could she fully trust this being who seemed so different from anything in their records? "Tell me," Lysara said finally, "what is your name?" "Alex," he replied simply. The queen considered the name, letting it settle in her mind. It was a simple sound, unassuming, yet now it carried weight. Alex had done something extraordinary. He had saved her daughter, and in doing so, he had challenged everything she thought she knew about humans. Outside the chamber, the palace council convened. Advisors debated the human's presence. Some urged caution, arguing that humans were unpredictable and might have ulterior motives. Others pointed to the undeniable facts. Alex had saved the princess and acted without hesitation. The room was divided, tension rising like the energy of a brewing storm. Inside, Lysara continued her questioning. "Explain how you came upon my daughter," she said. "Why were you in this sector?" Alex recounted the events in simple terms, avoiding technical jargon. He described how he had been studying asteroid fields, noticed unusual energy readings, and followed them, only to find the princess's craft in danger. He spoke calmly, with honesty evident in every word. The queen listened, her eyes never leaving him. She noted the sincerity in his voice, the steady confidence, and the lack of aggression. Humans were supposed to be reckless and selfish. This one was neither. "You risked your life," Lysara said finally, "for someone you did not know and for a species not your own." "That is remarkable. Few in my world would have acted as you did." Alex inclined his head. "I did what anyone should do if they can help," he said simply. "I couldn't leave her to die." The princess shifted slightly, turning to face the queen. "He saved me," she said, her voice stronger. "He didn't think about danger, he just acted. He's different." Lysara's eyes widened. The word different lingered in her mind. This human was different. His courage was not that of brute strength, but of heart. His wisdom was not in years, but in understanding what mattered. Her preconceived notions about humans began to crumble. Outside the chamber, a low alarm sounded. Sensors had detected movement near the outer perimeter of the station. The rogue faction that had attacked earlier was still active, scouting the area. The palace guards tensed, ready for action. Lysara's attention snapped back to the present. "Alex," she said, her voice firm, "you are still in danger. They may return." Alex nodded. "I am aware. I will act if necessary, but for now my priority is the princess." Lysara watched him carefully. She realized something vital. Humans thought differently. They were not bound by rigid strategy or fear. They acted on principle, guided by instinct and compassion. It was unsettling, yet inspiring. The princess looked at Alex again, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and trust. She had never met a human before, yet she felt safe in his presence. It was a strange, new feeling, reliance on a being from a distant world. She wondered what kind of life this human had lived, what trials he had faced to become so brave and calm. Lysara turned to her advisors. "Prepare a secure route back to the palace," she ordered. "We must observe this human closely." "But I believe he may be more valuable alive than dead," the council murmured, some in agreement, some in disbelief. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but the events that had unfolded were undeniable. Alex had saved the princess. That act alone demanded respect, if not trust. Later, as the princess rested, Alex took a moment to look out the chamber window. The rings of Zithra stretched endlessly, glittering under the light of its suns. He reflected on how fragile life could be, even in the vastness of space. And yet, he also thought about the courage that could appear in the most unexpected places, like this alien princess, who had faced death with bravery beyond her years. He didn't yet know the consequences of his actions. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy, and aliens often viewed them with skepticism or curiosity. But Alex did not dwell on politics or strategy. He focused on what he could do: protect life, offer help, and act with courage. That was enough. Queen Lysara returned to the chamber, her movements measured. She observed Alex silently for a long moment, weighing her thoughts. Finally, she spoke. "I cannot fully understand your actions, human, but I see their impact. You have saved my daughter. That alone earns my attention and my consideration." Alex nodded respectfully. "I only wish to help your majesty, that is all." Lysara considered her next steps carefully. The galaxy was vast and humans were unpredictable, yet this one had proven himself worthy of attention. She made a decision, though cautious. "You will remain under observation until I am certain of your intentions, but do not take this as distrust. I am merely cautious. I wish to understand." Alex inclined his head. "I understand. I will comply." As the queen left, the princess whispered again, "Thank you, Alex. You saved me." Alex smiled gently. "You are strong," he said. "You will recover quickly, and you will be even stronger than before." Princess Neera's eyes sparkled faintly. "I want to learn from you," she said softly. "Not just how to survive, but how to act with courage like you." Alex's heart lifted slightly. Humans had always believed that courage and compassion could make a difference. Now it seemed, even in a distant alien world, those values could inspire others, bridging species and cultures. Outside, the station's sensors continued to hum. The rogue faction had not given up, and the galaxy remained unpredictable. Yet for the first time, a human had entered their world, unafraid and unshaken. His presence had already begun to shift perceptions, to challenge old beliefs, and to spark new possibilities. And as the suns of Zithra shone on the station, a quiet truth settled over the palace. Bravery, compassion, and integrity were universal. They were not bound by species, culture, or distance. Even a single human could demonstrate them, changing hearts and minds in ways that no one could ignore. The encounter had shifted something deep within the queen. Humans were no longer just distant observers. They were capable, resilient, and heroic. And this one human, Alex, had already proven it beyond doubt. The universe was vast, filled with unknown dangers, yet also with unexpected allies. And in that moment, in the quiet recovery chamber, the first threads of trust began to weave between worlds. The quiet of the recovery chamber was broken by the low hum of the station's sensors. Outside, the vast darkness of space shimmered with distant stars, but danger lurked closer than anyone hoped. The rogue faction that had ambushed Princess Neera earlier had not given up. Reports indicated that small attack ships were closing in on the station, scanning for targets. Queen Lysara stood on the observation deck, her tentacles resting lightly on the railing. She gazed at the holographic projection of the approaching fleet, her eyes sharp with concern. She had never expected her daughter's ordeal to continue so soon. "They are persistent," she said softly, "and they will not stop until they have claimed something they think belongs to them." Alex was summoned to the council chamber. The queen and her advisors had gathered to discuss the unfolding threat. As he entered, all eyes turned toward him. The human stood calmly, his posture steady, his mind already calculating possibilities and outcomes. "You," Lysara began, her voice firm, "have proven capable in rescue, but now we face another challenge. This rogue faction seeks to strike again. You will accompany us and assist if you are willing. Do you understand the risks?" Alex nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will help in any way I can." The queen studied him for a long moment. Then, with a subtle motion, she dismissed the council and led Alex to the strategy room. Holographic maps of the surrounding space filled the room. Red markers indicated the positions of the rogue ships, moving steadily toward the station. "Your skills are unusual," Lysara said quietly. "Rogue forces rely on fear and technology. Humans are not expected to act so boldly. How do you intend to help?" Alex stepped forward and examined the projections. "We cannot rely on brute force," he said simply. "Their numbers are too great, but we can use the environment, the asteroid fields, and diversionary tactics to slow them. We can protect the station and the princess without a full confrontation." Lysara's eyes narrowed. Her people relied on advanced weapons and disciplined formations. The idea of using creativity and improvisation was almost foreign, yet she could see the sense in his plan. Humans often solved problems differently than her species, relying on quick thinking and adaptation rather than rigid strategy. "Show me," she said. Alex moved to the controls, projecting a three-dimensional map of the region. "These small ships are fast, but they rely on predictable patterns," he explained. "If we use the asteroid fields here and here, we can force them into narrow passages. I will place decoy signals to confuse their sensors. Then we can intercept them at key points." The queen observed silently, her mind racing. This human was suggesting what her own strategists might never consider: flexibility, unpredictability, and clever use of terrain. It was risky, yes, but it could work. As preparations began, Princess Nera watched from the recovery chamber. Though still weak, she insisted on observing. "He knows what he is doing," she whispered to the attending nurse. "Even stronger than some of our soldiers." Hours passed as Alex coordinated with the palace forces. He showed them how to use sensor jammers, how to deploy decoy drones, and how to anticipate enemy movements. The Queen's soldiers, initially skeptical, began to follow his guidance. His calm confidence inspired them. Even the Queen herself felt a mix of admiration and cautious hope. Finally, the attack began. The rogue ships emerged from the outer asteroid field, their weapons glowing ominously. The Queen's forces moved into position, guided by Alex's strategies. The humans' quick thinking was proving effective. Decoy signals drew several ships into traps, while narrow passages forced others to slow down. One rogue fighter aimed directly for the station. Alex activated a combination of tractor beams and timed diversions. The ship spun out of control, colliding harmlessly with an asteroid. The Queen watched in amazement. The human had saved lives without firing a single shot, using ingenuity rather than aggression. But the battle was far from over. Another wave of ships advanced, this time more aggressive. They had learned from the first losses and adapted their strategy. The Queen's fleet struggled to maintain formation. The station's defenses were pushed to their limits. Alex noticed the pattern. "They are predicting our moves," he said. "We need something unexpected." He turned to the Queen. "If you allow me to lead a small strike team through a hidden passage, we can disrupt their command ship. It will force the rest to retreat or scatter." Lysara hesitated. Sending a human on such a dangerous mission seemed unwise. Yet she remembered what she had seen: bravery, intelligence, and calm action in the face of danger. "Very well," she said, "but you will not act alone. A small squad of our best pilots will accompany you." Alex nodded, preparing the team. The hidden passage was a narrow corridor of space between asteroid clusters, barely visible on sensors. It was risky, but it offered a chance to strike directly at the enemy. The pilots followed Alex's instructions precisely, trusting his judgment even though he was not one of their species. As they navigated the treacherous path, energy blasts from rogue ships lit up the darkness. Alex guided the squad through tight turns, timing their movements perfectly. They reached the enemy command ship undetected. With careful precision, Alex coordinated a strike that disabled the ship's communication array. The rogue fleet lost coordination instantly, confusion spreading among their ranks. Back at the station, the Queen and her forces seized the opportunity. They pushed forward, securing the perimeter and forcing the remaining rogue ships to retreat. Victory was not won by sheer firepower, but by strategy, quick thinking, and cooperation. When the battle ended, the Queen summoned Alex. She studied him carefully. "You risked your life," she said. "Not for honor, not for glory, but to protect others. That is extraordinary. Your actions today have saved countless lives." Alex inclined his head. I did what anyone should do if they can, protect life when possible, that is all. The princess, now stronger, approached. You saved everyone, she said, her voice firm. I owe you my life, and so does everyone here. You are more than brave. You are inspiring. Lysara felt a deep pride in her daughter, yet also a new respect for this human. Your courage is unlike anything I have seen, she said softly. Even in our greatest warriors, I have never witnessed such calm, quick thinking and care. You are remarkable. Alex smiled gently. I am just human, but humans have a choice. We can act with courage, even in danger. We can choose to help, even when the odds are against us. The queen's gaze lingered on him. She realized that courage was not determined by species, strength, or technology. It was determined by heart, by decision, by action in the moment when it mattered most. That night after the station was secured, Alex reviewed the events in his mind. He had faced danger, worked with an alien fleet, and protected a young princess. It had been challenging, exhausting, and terrifying at times, yet he felt a deep satisfaction. Humans often relied on intelligence, empathy, and courage rather than sheer force, and today those qualities had made the difference. The queen walked through the corridors, reflecting on the day's events. She thought of her daughter's safety, the bravery of the human, and the loyalty of her soldiers. She realized that her people had underestimated humans for too long. They were not just observers from distant worlds. They were capable, resourceful, and heroic. The princess rested in her chamber, recovering from the ordeal. She thought about Alex, about his calm demeanor, and about the selfless way he had acted. She had always admired courage, but now she understood it in a new way. Courage was not just about fighting. It was about acting wisely, thinking quickly, and putting others first. Alex, meanwhile, remained vigilant. Though the immediate danger had passed, he knew that the galaxy was unpredictable. Other threats could emerge, and his role as protector might continue. Yet he also knew that bravery, intelligence, and compassion were universal tools. They could bridge species, save lives, and change perceptions. Queen Lysara finally returned to the observation deck. She looked at the stars and thought of humans. One had saved her daughter. One had shown her people a new kind of heroism, and she knew that this was only the beginning. The rogue faction had been defeated, but the lesson was clear. Courage was not measured in size, technology, or history. It was measured in action. And a human, fragile by alien standards, had demonstrated it fully. Princess Nira, recovering, whispered once more. I want to learn from him, she said. Not just to survive, but to understand courage like he shows. Alex smiled, unaware of the full impact he had made. He had only acted as any human might, guided by empathy, quick thinking, and the desire to protect life. Yet that small, simple principle had reshaped the views of an entire alien culture. And in the quiet of the station, under the shimmer of Zithara's three suns, the first threads of a new alliance began to form. A human had proven that courage and compassion were universal. Even across the vastness of space, one individual could make a difference that echoed far beyond themselves. The queen, watching, felt a spark of hope. Perhaps the galaxy held more allies than she had ever imagined. And perhaps humans, so underestimated, were ready to show their true potential. For Alex, it was another day of survival, courage, and compassion. For Zithara, it was the beginning of a new understanding. And for Princess Nira, it was a lesson she would carry forever. Courage could come from the most unexpected places, even a distant world called Earth. The battle had ended, but the station was far from quiet. The hum of repair drones filled the air, and engineers moved quickly to restore damaged systems. Outside, the stars of Zithara glimmered like scattered diamonds across the void, indifferent to the struggles below. Yet within the station, a new sense of hope stirred, a hope sparked by the courage of a human named Alex. Queen Lysara paced the observation deck, her tentacles curling thoughtfully. She had watched the battle unfold, seen the rogue ships retreat, and witnessed Alex's calm, ingenious strategy save countless lives. Now she faced a new challenge, understanding this human and what his presence could mean for her civilization. Your Majesty, one advisor began cautiously, we must decide what to do with him. Humans are unpredictable. Allowing him such freedom could be dangerous. Lysara's eyes narrowed. Dangerous, perhaps, but his actions have proven his worth. He saved my daughter and protected our people. We cannot ignore that. Alex moved quietly through the corridors, checking on the repairs and speaking to the station personnel. His calm demeanor and approachable manner had already earned him respect. Though the aliens were initially skeptical, they now approached him for guidance, inspired by the human who had turned the tide of battle without firing a single shot. Princess Nira, now fully awake and recovering, requested to see Alex. When he arrived, she smiled faintly, her injuries still visible but her spirit strong. "You helped me and everyone," she said softly. "I want to learn more from you, how to act, how to think like you." Alex smiled gently. "I can teach you what I know," he said. "But courage and intelligence come from within. I can only guide you." The princess's eyes sparkled. "I want to understand," she said firmly. "Not just fight, but see the world differently. Humans, you see things differently than we do." Alex nodded. "Humans rely on empathy and creativity. We think quickly, adapt, and act when it matters. You can do the same." Meanwhile, Queen Lysara summoned Alex to the royal council chamber. Her advisors filled the room, some still wary, some curious. Lysara stood at the head of the table, her expression serious. "Alex," she said, "I wish to understand humans. You have proven bravery, intelligence, and compassion, but we must know if these qualities are common in your species or rare exceptions." Alex considered carefully. "Humans are like that in many ways," he said. "We can be strong, clever, and brave. We can also be reckless or selfish. But in moments that matter, many humans act to help others. That is our strength." The council murmured. Some were skeptical, unable to imagine such qualities in a species they had observed from afar. Others felt hope. If humans could act like Alex, then perhaps they could be valuable allies in the future. Lysara leaned forward. "If what you say is true, then humans may offer more than we imagined, but trust must be earned. You will remain here for now. We will observe, learn, and decide our next steps." Alex nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I am not here to interfere, only to help and learn from your people." In the following days, Alex spent time with Princess Nira, guiding her in small ways. He showed her how to analyze situations quickly, how to think ahead, and how to act decisively under pressure. She listened intently, absorbing his lessons. She had always admired courage, but now she understood it as a combination of heart, intelligence, and action. The two of them also shared stories. Alex spoke of Earth, of humanity's history, struggles, and achievements. Nira spoke of Zithara, of her people's culture, traditions, and values. They learned from each other, bridging the gap between species with curiosity and respect. One afternoon, they stood on a balcony overlooking the planet. The three suns cast golden, silver, and pale blue light over the cities below. Nira turned to Alex. "You see the world differently," she said. "You act even when fear is present. That inspires me." Alex smiled. "Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. Everyone can do it, alien or human. You just have to try." Back in the council chamber, Lysara discussed the possibility of a formal alliance. The rogue faction's attack had revealed weaknesses that humans might help address. Alex's strategies had demonstrated that humans could be more than observers, they could be active partners. "Your Majesty," one advisor said cautiously, "forming an alliance with humans may be risky. We do not know their full intentions." Lysara's eyes glinted. "Their intentions may be uncertain, yes, but their abilities are clear. One human has changed our perspective. Perhaps others can offer similar strengths. It is a risk worth considering." She turned to Alex. "If you are willing, you may help us plan for the future. Teach us what humans can do, and we will learn from you." Alex nodded. "I will do my best. Humans believe in cooperation and using our strengths to help others. That is what I can share." Days turned into weeks. The princess grew stronger under Alex's guidance. She learned not just combat skills, but strategy, empathy, and quick thinking. She observed how Alex solved problems, how he adapted to unexpected challenges, and how he remained calm under pressure. Her respect for him deepened, and so did her admiration. Alex also began to study Zithara. He learned their technology, their customs, and their ways of thinking. He realized that while their civilization was advanced, it often relied on rigid rules and hierarchy. His human perspective offered flexibility, improvisation, and creative solutions. In time, the aliens began to see value in this new way of thinking. The Queen continued to observe him closely. Each day, her confidence in his abilities grew. She noticed how his presence inspired her people, how he earned respect not through authority, but through action, courage, and intelligence. She realized that humans could offer a unique perspective in a galaxy dominated by strict hierarchies and rigid systems. One evening, the Queen summoned Alex to a private meeting. She studied him intently. "You have proven humans are capable," she said. "But more than that, you have shown my daughter, my people, and myself what courage and intelligence truly mean. That is rare even among my own species." Alex bowed respectfully. "I am honored, Your Majesty. I only acted as I thought was right. I never expected recognition." Lysara's gaze softened. "Recognition is not what matters. What matters is the lesson you have taught us, that courage, creativity, and compassion are universal. They are not bound by species or origin." The following days saw a gradual transformation in the palace. Soldiers and advisors began adopting Alex's strategies, experimenting with creative solutions and thinking more flexibly. The rogue faction remained a threat in nearby systems, but the station was prepared, fortified by new tactics and human-inspired ingenuity. Princess Nira spent more time with Alex, learning not just combat skills, but how to lead. She observed how he motivated others, how he inspired trust and cooperation, and how he balanced risk with careful judgment. She began to see herself differently, not just as a princess, but as a potential leader who could guide her people with courage, wisdom, and empathy. One day, as they trained near the station's outer decks, Nira paused. "Alex," she said thoughtfully, "I think I understand now. Humans, we thought we were superior in strategy and strength, but you show a different kind of strength, one we can learn from." Alex smiled gently. "Strength comes in many forms. Sometimes it is physical, sometimes it is mental, and sometimes it is the courage to act when it matters most. Everyone has the ability to be strong, even in ways that are unexpected." Lysara, observing from the council chamber, felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this was the beginning of something greater. Humans could be allies, guides, and friends in a universe often filled with conflict. Alex had shown her people that bravery and intelligence were not limited by species. They were qualities anyone could cultivate. Later that evening, Alex walked along the observation deck, reflecting on the events of the past weeks. He had entered an alien world, faced danger, and taught valuable lessons without intending to. And yet he realized that was exactly what humans were capable of. They acted when necessary, inspired others through courage and example, and bridged gaps that seemed insurmountable. Princess Nira approached quietly. "Alex," she said softly, "you've changed more than just my life. You've changed our view of humans, and perhaps even the future of Zithra." Alex looked at her, humbled. "I only hope to guide. The rest comes from people like you, Princess. Courage spreads when it is shared, when it inspires others to act." Lysara watched them, feeling a profound sense of possibility. Perhaps humans could become trusted partners, allies who offered not just strength, but creativity, courage, and hope. Perhaps the galaxy was bigger than she had imagined, filled with beings capable of heroism in unexpected forms. And as the suns of Zithra set over the glittering cities below, one truth became clear. Courage, intelligence, and compassion were universal. Alex had proven it. Humans were more than observers. They were capable of inspiring change, forming alliances, and shaping the future. The Queen turned to her advisors. "Prepare for a new era," she said quietly, a smile touching her features. "An era where humans may walk alongside us, not as strangers, but as partners and allies." For Alex, it was another day of learning, teaching, and bridging worlds. For Princess Nira, it was the beginning of her growth as a leader. And for Queen Lysara, it was the realization that courage and intelligence could appear in the most unexpected places, even in a human from a distant world. The alliance had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy was quiet, but only for a moment. The rogue faction had retreated after their earlier defeat, but their presence lingered in the minds of the people of Zithra. Queen Lysara, Alex, and Princess Nira stood together on the observation deck of the station, watching the stars shimmer against the endless black of space. Each light seemed distant, yet full of possibility, just like the bond that had formed between humans and aliens. "Alex," Lysara began, her voice thoughtful, "the rogue faction may return. They will not forget the loss of their ships, but with your guidance we are prepared for what comes." Alex nodded. "We've strengthened the defenses, improved strategies, and trained the team. We're ready. But the key is not only weapons or tactics, it's courage, unity, and quick thinking. That will decide the outcome." Princess Neera stepped closer, her injuries fully healed, her posture strong. "I want to help," she said firmly. "I've learned from you, Alex. I want to use what I've learned to protect my people." Alex smiled. "You already have the courage. What you've learned is how to use it wisely." The queen studied her daughter, then turned to Alex. "Your presence here has changed everything. You have taught us a new form of heroism, one that does not rely solely on strength, but on intelligence, empathy, and courage. We are grateful, human." Alex inclined his head. "I only acted as anyone should, protect those in danger when possible. That is what matters." Days passed in preparation. Zithra's forces moved with efficiency, blending their advanced technology with human-inspired strategies. Sensors were upgraded, decoy drones placed in the asteroid fields, and patrols trained to anticipate enemy patterns. The rogue faction would soon learn that attacking Zithra was no longer simple. Then, the alert came. Sensors detected the rogue ships returning, larger in number and more aggressive than before. Energy signatures blazed across the void, their weapons primed for destruction. The station's alarms echoed through the corridors, and the citizens of Zithra braced themselves. Alex quickly convened with the fleet commanders. "Stay calm," he instructed. "We've prepared for this. Follow the plan, adapt if necessary, and act decisively. Remember, courage and teamwork will make the difference." Lysara observed silently, her confidence in the human unwavering. She had seen him act calmly under extreme pressure before, but this time the stakes were higher. Not just her daughter, but her entire civilization depended on the decisions made in the coming battle. Princess Neera stood beside Alex in the command center, her eyes focused. "We can do this," she whispered. "I trust you. I trust us." The rogue fleet approached, forming an intimidating line. The battle began with energy blasts streaking across the void, illuminating the darkness with flashes of destructive light. The Queen's fleet responded immediately, following Alex's strategies. He guided the commanders through the chaos, anticipating enemy maneuvers and using the asteroid fields to their advantage. Rogue ships were forced into narrow corridors where their numbers were less effective. Decoy drones confused their sensors, causing disarray and collisions among the enemy ranks. One ship attempted a direct strike on the station. Alex activated a combination of tractor beams and energy shields, diverting it safely into an asteroid. The Queen watched in awe, realizing that this human had transformed what could have been a disaster into a controlled engagement. Princess Neera piloted a small craft alongside Alex's tactical path, applying the lessons she had learned. Her movements were precise, her decisions quick. She intercepted rogue fighters and protected critical points, proving that her training with Alex had prepared her for leadership. As the battle intensified, Alex noticed a key vulnerability in the enemy formation. "Target their command ship," he instructed. "If we disable it, the rest will retreat or lose coordination." A squadron of Zithran pilots followed Alex's plan, moving swiftly through a narrow asteroid passage to reach the rogue command ship. Alex calculated their trajectory, timing, and approach with precision. Energy beams fired, shields adjusted, and finally the command ship was disabled. Chaos spread through the enemy fleet. Back at the station, the Queen's forces seized the opportunity. They moved forward, securing positions and forcing the remaining rogue ships to retreat in disorder. The battle was won, not through sheer force, but through strategy, quick thinking, and the unity of human and alien cooperation. When the final enemy ship disappeared into the darkness, a cheer rose throughout the station. The citizens of Zithra celebrated the victory, but their eyes also turned to Alex. He had been a human among them, yet his actions had saved countless lives and reshaped their understanding of courage and leadership. Queen Lysara approached him in the command center. Her eyes, once wary, now glimmered with respect and gratitude. "You have done more than save lives," she said softly. "You have taught us that heroism comes in many forms. Courage, intelligence, and compassion can change outcomes where power alone cannot." Alex bowed respectfully. "I only acted as I could. Courage is universal. Anyone can choose it when it matters." Princess Neera joined them, her face bright with pride. "We've all learned something important," she said. "Not just about strategy or combat, but about heart, about courage, about helping others even when it's dangerous." Lysara nodded. "You have changed more than just the outcome of a battle. You have changed the perception of an entire species. Humans are no longer distant observers. You are allies, partners, and heroes in our eyes. The Queen summoned the council. Prepare a formal declaration, she said. The human, Alex, and his species are to be recognized as partners and friends. We will establish an alliance, combining our strengths and learning from one another. The council erupted in whispers, some hesitant, some excited. They had witnessed human ingenuity firsthand and understood the potential benefits of cooperation. For the first time, humans were seen as equals, capable of bravery, wisdom, and leadership. Days later, a ceremony was held. Alex stood beside Queen Lysira and Princess Nera as the alliance was officially announced. Dignitaries from across Scythera attended, witnessing a human being honored not only for his actions, but for the qualities he embodied: courage, intelligence, and empathy. Lysira addressed the assembly. Today marks a new chapter. One human, Alex, has proven that heroism is not bound by species, strength, or technology. Courage, intelligence, and compassion are universal. Let this alliance be a symbol of cooperation, understanding, and shared purpose. Applause echoed throughout the chamber. Alex, humbled, bowed respectfully. He had never sought recognition, yet he understood the importance of the moment. Humans, through his actions, had earned a place in the hearts of the people of Scythera. Princess Nera stepped forward, placing her hand lightly on Alex's arm. "You've inspired all of us," she said. "I will carry your lessons with me always. One day I hope to be a leader as wise and brave as you have shown me humans can be." Alex smiled gently. "The strength was always within you. I only helped you see it." The Queen regarded both of them, pride and hope shining in her eyes. She realized that the galaxy was larger than she had imagined, filled with beings capable of heroism in unexpected ways. Humans, once underestimated, were now recognized as partners, capable of inspiring change and courage across worlds. In the following weeks, the alliance strengthened. Humans and Scytherans trained together, sharing strategies, technologies, and ideas. Alex guided the training with humility, encouraging cooperation and creative thinking. Scytherans, initially skeptical, embraced the lessons, learning to value intelligence, flexibility, and compassion alongside their advanced technology. The rogue faction, observing the strengthened defenses and unity of Scythera, realized that attacking again would be futile. Their attempts were limited, and over time they retreated to distant systems, never to threaten Scythera again. Princess Nera, now confident and skilled, often reflected on the journey. She thought of the human who had risked everything to save her, who had taught her not just to survive, but to act with courage and wisdom. She understood that heroism was not about species, power, or tradition. It was about heart, decisions, and the willingness to act for others. Queen Lysira, observing her daughter and the human together, felt a deep sense of hope. Perhaps the galaxy held more allies than she had ever imagined. Perhaps humans, so underestimated, were ready to show their true potential. And perhaps with cooperation and courage, civilizations could face the future together, stronger than any one species alone. Alex, looking at Scythera's glittering cities, felt a quiet satisfaction. He had entered a world far from his own, faced danger, and acted to protect life. And in doing so, he had proven that humans were capable of heroism that could inspire others, change perceptions, and form lasting bonds across the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers and infinite possibilities. Yet one truth had become clear: courage, intelligence, and compassion were universal. Even a single human could make a difference, touching hearts, shaping futures, and leaving a legacy that would endure for generations. As the suns of Scythera set over the horizon, casting golden light across the planet, the queen, the princess, and the human stood together. They looked outward, knowing that challenges would come again, but confident that unity, courage, and wisdom would guide them. The rogue faction had been defeated, the alliance had been forged, and humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, not through conquest or power, but through courage, intelligence, and the simple act of choosing to help when it mattered most. In time, stories would be told of the human who held an alien princess and changed a queen's heart. Tales of courage and compassion would inspire generations, and the legacy of that single human, Alex, would endure across the stars. For Scythera, humanity was no longer distant or unknown. Humans were heroes, allies, and friends. And for Alex, it was proof that courage and kindness could transcend worlds, species, and fear, reminding all that even one person, acting with heart and wisdom, could change the course of the galaxy. And so, under the three sons of Zithra, the stars seemed brighter, the future more hopeful, and the bonds between worlds stronger than ever before.